Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our presentation. This is Fabian, Lady, and Julie. We would like to talk about our self-assessment material. So let's start by that we made an interview with them, collecting some information about their educational background. So we did this interview with 23 students. We had 15 women and 8 men. The age was between 18 and 22 years old, and they were an English intermediate 4. So we found out that they have just bad experience with the high school learning experiences, of course, the traditional method, the old-fashioned materials, the theoretical approaches were used abundantly. And of course, they had some repetitive and focus on explanation rehearsals, filling in the blank, all those traditional kind of boring activities in the past, and most of them are from the public university, and most of them belong to different programs. So we will tell you more about.
So as my previous partner said, we applied an instrument to collect that information, and we base the previous experiences that they have had on the learning process, and we wanted to know what were the purposes of this activity, the linguistic needs. So we find out, or we realize, that our students are able to read short news passages on level 2 and 3, that is mostly according to the CIFER and A2B1. Also, they are proficient or using basic grammar structures according to the syllables of English 4. They were currently studying at the syllables, the present perfect. They have an average knowledge of verbs. At that time, it was about 20 verbs. We haven't measured again how many verbs they already know after the activities that we have been carrying out. The students are able to talk about specific situations. They are able to record themselves more confidently and to talk about isolated contextual situations. They are able to report the news they have read so far. And also they are able to provide answers for about 1 to 2 minutes, and placing great effort to talking as long as possible, providing great detail of answers. And when they report the news, they are able to provide answers for about a minute using the vocabulary that they have learned from the news. And also they have worked with different types of activities, but they haven't worked much with several types of different audios for the classes. And some of the instructions are in English and Spanish. So those are some of the linguistic facts and needs that they were evidencing.
Thank you, Fabian. So now what our students needed to learn next. So they now need to use the information in new situations. It means that they need to be able to implement what they have learned in other contexts. And they also need to learn how to analyze and draw connections among ideas so that they are able to contrast and compare. And besides, students need to learn how to support their ideas, and argue others. And finally, students need to develop the capacity of creating new or original work. So according to the Bloom's taxonomy, the students could be placed in the level of understanding, which is the second level, as they are already able to explain ideas or concepts, and they can recall facts, report them, and translate them. So nevertheless, not all of the students in this group are in the same level. So there are a few students that still are in the process of moving from merely remembering to really understanding.
Thank you, Julie. And then we have the motivation. So they're tried by the relevancy of know the culture and languages, of course, being autonomous learning through the use of learning objects, overcoming challenging activities, and they're motivated for a meaningful process. And they want to understand the language without translating or subtitles. Of course, that's going to be by the process. And then we have 4 different aspects that they need that we find out what they need to learn best. So the use of Trello boards has been unique and meaningful strategy to students to be motivated and learn independently. Short grammar explanation, development of learning activities on their own in Trello, and development of interactive activities exercise that we're going to show you later.
So the learning objectives that we established were one general and three specific. So the general one is that by the end of the unit, students were going to be able to talk about the pros and cons of tourism. And they will explore and use essential English language to travel. So the specific objective one was that by the end of this lesson, students will be able to discuss the pros and cons of tourism in that country, so talking nationally. The second specific objective is that students will be able to debate the positive and negative impact of tourism, internationally talking. So we're talking about like the theory versus reality in a real context. And finally, that students will be able to talk about preparations for a trip. So the activity one was based on an already existing material, which was a reading taken from World English 2, a book from National Geographic. And this was the material that we created. So students, with this first activity, of course, students were like achieving the first specific objective. And so so before reading, students had to like activate their previous knowledge. So to do that, students had to answer 2 questions and share their thoughts in a Padlet where all of the students could access. Questions were, which places in your city get the most tourists, and do tourists cause any problems? So students did this, they went to this paddle. So if we can take a look at it, we can see our student samples. So our way to giving them feedback was giving them an example of how they should be answering this question. And okay, thank you. So now in here we can see some of the answers that our students gave us. Thank you so much. And this Padlet was also used for other activities. So now that they did this, they developed a kind of a questionnaire activity just to check if they what they could recall from the reading. So they went to Gamble Zoo to answer these questions, and in this platform, students were given like feedback, like immediate feedback. So what answers were correct or wrong. And in this, students could also participate. Okay, and well, after that, the students had to read some questions and show their answers in the same Padlet that we created previously. So we asked them to mention one aspect that called their attention the most and why. And we also gave them an example.
Perfect. So the next activity that we prepared was a video activity. Remember that all those activities that we have been showing were based on the expectations and needs of the students and the best way that they learn. So we create the first and the second activity based on that. So we decided to present the video activity. Lady was our model for the video. And what was our objective for this one? The students will be able to debate about the positive and negative impacts of the video. So in the video that we prepared for them, the students have to watch the situation that we prepare about the students. Lady showed a place and presented the information about the benefits of tourism, what it was important to tourism in that place, and then construct the reality of that place. Here we have an extract of what we pretend to do with this activity. And then what the students, they have to watch the video. They take some minutes to answer the following questions that were placed on a different palette that we create for them. So the questions were, which places would you like to visit and how do these places look like? Think about a physical description of those places. So let's take a look. This is the board that we create for them. Here we have the video of our lovely lady talking to the students and presenting.
Then we'd like to talk about tourism.
So we presented the place, and then we move on to show them the realities that most of the time the tourist situation doesn't place. So we asked them about the places that they would like to visit and what places they would recommend to visit, and to post some opinions about the places that they recommended. These activities, some of them were placed on the palette, other were placed on a physical notebook that we create. So to finalize this activity, from the videos and the notes that they have made, they need to create a list of words also to reinforce the vocabulary and to work several aspects to move on answering the question, what is students? And they have to provide some examples of their opinions, to place some opinions on the palette, or either to write down those opinions in the activity that we have. To create some additional aspects on to further the production of the students, they were in charge to create a video. As they are on the process of creating them, we don't have them already to present today because we left a room for the students to create the script, to prepare the activity, to record the places in their own or in their interest, and to place it on the file of Drive where they have to upload the video.
Thank you, Fabian. And then we have the infographic activity. So the specific objective was, by the end of this lesson, you will be able to talk about preparation for a trip. And the specific objective is, by the end of this lesson, you will be able to talk about preparation of a trip. So we create an infographic for them with a specific information, summary, everything. Can you show me the next one, Fabi? Thank you so much. And here we have the infographic. Maybe you can show us the link. And then we have some activities. They have some questions, previews, and after the reading. And the most important that we have in this point is that we're talking about inclusive tools. So we found out about this website that is called TT Reader. So the student is able to copy the information that is already done in the Drive in Google. So the student can copy that information, put it in the TT Reader, and the student can hear the information just in case they have some low visual limitations and stuff. So you can see here the Google Drive and all the information, and then you can show me next, Fabi. So they're gonna do as well, finding unknown words and make a list and then share with the classmates about it. And then they're gonna work on speech. They're gonna do a debate. So they're gonna talk about travel agencies are best to travel around the world, or planning your trip is the best option. So this is gonna be all with the help of the professor Fabian. He has all the students. We already did some pilot tests with some previous videos, and so far it's been working very well. So thank you so much for your attention, and that will be all for tonight.